I don't think there's any way to spin this. Donovan Mitchell was scintillating last night.
Yeah, he had the kind of game that we want to see consistently out of Donovan Mitchell, and I think it is unfair to expect him to put up 35 points a night. However, I think the conversation we need to have is more about the way he went about taking over this game and dominating this game. This is what we want to see out of him. Whether that means he put up 25 or 35 or 100 points doesn't really matter to me. What I want to see is him taking over games and controlling the narrative in the game. And that's what we saw last night. And obviously, you have a Bulls team that was very dominant through the middle portion of the season, has pretty much fallen off and has not been able to finish the season strong. But regardless of that, they are still a good team, a team that could beat you if you open the door. And the Jazz didn't do that last night. And I have to say, it was awesome watching Donovan Mitchell just basically say, hey, you guys can just go back to the locker room. This game's over. I'm going to knock down my shots, and we're all going to ride off into the sunset. That is a great thing to see, and I do wish that we saw more out of Donovan Mitchell, and I don't know really what you attribute it to other than maybe he was just feeling good or he just had a nice game. I don't know, man, but this is the kind of player that he can be, and I think that performances like last night really should, if you're a Jazz fan, should really kind of silence the whole, hey, maybe we should build around Rudy Gobert, or maybe Donovan, if Donovan doesn't want to be here, then F him, basically. Like, Donovan Mitchell is the guy you want to build around. And I think we've been saying it. I think the only question mark about Donovan Mitchell is just how high is the ceiling? Is Donovan Mitchell ever an MVP candidate type conversation? And I got to be honest with you, if that's your biggest problem with Donovan Mitchell, I think you're in a pretty good place. So last night, I was very impressed. I also have to say that Alexander Walker, nice night for the kid. Finally gets some playing time, knocks down some shots. Really like that contribution. So I like what Quinn is doing. I think he's playing more guys. I think he's opened his mind up to that concept a little bit, and the Jazz are starting to see some benefit from it. So hopefully this continues. And, I don't know if all of you saw Dallas's win over Brooklyn last night, Dinwiddie hitting that buzzer beater. This was a huge win for the Jazz. Dallas wins that game in spectacular home run, walk-off type finish. And the Jazz answered, and that's all that really matters at this point.
Yeah, and I think the big conversation here is Donovan Mitchell is the absolute right guy to build this club around. And I just, again, will say is, and I know we talk about it a lot, Brandon Whitesides was all fired up on the old tweet machine yesterday about, well, stop talking about it, about whether Donovan Mitchell's going to leave or stay or go. But how do you not talk about it on a night like this where Jazz fans have for the last year been divided on whether or not this is Rudy's team or Don's team? And I'm just telling you again, Rudy Gobert's never given you what Donovan Mitchell gave you last night.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Gobert is not capable of carrying the ball club the way that Donovan Mitchell carried the ball club last night. Donovan Mitchell is a generational superstar in this league.
Mm-hmm.
He is the best player arguably you've ever had on your roster. And he's the guy you should build this team around because it's 2022 and the guy can just about do everything.
Facts.
And when he shows up to training camp in September with a mid-range jump shot, it's over.
I'm for real.
There's nothing to talk about. Donovan Mitchell is a stud. And last night he showed you that. And I think as far as the Chicago Bulls go, yeah, I think they're out of gas. I mean, that looked like a team that was tired. You knew as soon as they rolled out, and I think they were 0 for their first 6 shots, that this was a game the Utah Jazz should absolutely win. And I think that the Jazz, it's not even that they won this game. It's that they won on the same night that Dallas went to Brooklyn and Luka put on a show.
Yeah.
And I will again point out how beautiful, attractive, and intelligent I am as a human being.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that I'm beautiful and attractive and intelligent because Spencer Dinwiddie hit the massive shot for the Mavericks last night to knock off the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And Spencer Dinwiddie's a guy that the Jazz had every opportunity to get, and they passed.
Is this the dagger?
And now he's on the Dallas Mavericks, and he continues to be a bright spot for them.
Yeah.
But what a win for the Jazz. And then what a night to have a 9 3-point performance out of Donovan Mitchell on the same night that the Dallas Mavericks went to Brooklyn to win, which, by the way, the Utah Jazz are going to be there in less than a week. Jake, I think this was a huge win for the Jazz.
Yeah, and I think that every time the team that you're competing with in the standings wins a game in that fashion, and then you're able to basically nullify that by winning your game, that's a huge that's a huge moment for you as a team. Because again, think of it this way: Dinwiddie hits that game-winning shot, they win the game last second. They beat Brooklyn, and they're feeling great about themselves. You go back to the locker room, and you're like, all right, what's Utah doing? Are they going to beat the Bulls? And you're like, hopefully they lose, and then they end up winning. And if you're Luka and Dinwiddie and those guys, you're like, damn, man, we just pulled one out, and we weren't able to make up any ground on that. So I just think that
don't die.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Yeah, sorry. I just think that this was a nice win. That's just what it is. And I think as you progress through the schedule, again, the only thing that matters is holding on to the 4 spot. That's it. If you can hold on to the 4 spot, you're going to be in a good place going to the postseason, and you're going to do everything that you can do to get as far as possible. But I want this conversation of who should we build around in the future to be put to bed, because I just don't think it's really even a conversation anymore. I think that Donovan Mitchell has shown you some shortcomings, absolutely. Do I wish he turned it over less in the paint? Yeah, absolutely. But he's going to fix that when he learns how to play the mid-range more effectively, which should happen this summer. Has he shown us the ability to pick and choose when he takes his threes? Yes, he has. I mean, I think he's worked on that. And I think that Donovan Mitchell hero ball has gone away a bit. So you can see, in small progressions that he is working on his game. And I think that that's very encouraging to see, because, again, it's not next season that you need him to be absolute savage killer guy. It's the season after that when you would expect to contend for a title.
And again, I'm just going to say that I love the heart that this Utah Jazz team shows on a night in, night out basis. I mean, this team has faced a lot of adversity. I think certainly the night to night challenge that it is being the Utah Jazz the way they're currently constructed, it's very difficult to compete at the highest levels in this league when you lack athletic ability. And I think even at times last night we saw that. They don't have a guy that can stay with Zach LaVine when he is at his best, even if he is double dribbling into a three-pointer in the corner.
No stop.
You don't. Yeah, exactly right. I wasn't speeding. There was no cop there. You don't have an answer defensively for DeRozan's mid-range game. You don't have a guy that plays with the tenacity that an Alex Caruso brings off their bench. Now, you bring in Jordan Clarkson, who gives you a really good performance again last night, but you don't have a guy that brings you that edge that a Javonte Green does, or the leaping ability of a Derek Jones Jr. And yet you still beat them by 15 points.
Yeah.
And what that tells you is you got a great performance out of Donovan Mitchell. And defensively, I thought the Jazz did a really good job communicating on the pick and roll. And that's what this team has to get. And the thing that scares you is the same thing that you love about the way they won this game. This is the kind of performance that they have to get every single night out of Donovan Mitchell if they're going to win at a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when you're playing a mediocre team like the Chicago Bulls, that's not the Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors, the Denver Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks, coming up the Brooklyn Nets. Like, you look at your Nets last night.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what Kevin Durant did. Kevin Durant had a tragically terrible game last night.
Yeah, he had 11 points at the half and couldn't knock anything down in the second half.
Well, that was until the game was on the line and they needed a 3 and he gave it to them.
Yep.
And it's that kind of, innate ability to say, I don't care what happened on the last shot. The next shot's the one that matters.
Yep.
That's what I love about this team. Now, there was also a lot of conversation last night about this technical foul that Donovan Mitchell got.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I know that I've been a huge critic of the Jazz broadcast. I understand that. I'm not sitting here trying to pile on them. Holly Rose, an embarrassment. To sit there last night when Donovan Mitchell gets this technical foul, and it was a stupid technical foul. It was barely
It's body contact through the play. It's not like you got run over and they didn't call it.
And by the way, make the fucking layup. That's a play where you should have made the layup, right?
Yeah.
She says right after he goes into a tantrum, waving his arms, yelling and screaming, cursing at the official, who then waits for the play to end and calls a technical foul on Donovan. She then says, well, you know what? The amazing part of this is the official has to know that he can't call a technical foul there because Donovan Mitchell's in the right, and he knew he was in the right. And if Donovan Mitchell is that upset, you must have missed a call, and the official knows that. If Donovan's that upset, you can't call a technical foul because you blew one.
Come on.
It's like, Holly, look, man, I love you on football. I enjoy your work. You're embarrassing yourself on the Jazz broadcast.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten back to a place where from the groinial region, I was comfortable enough to watch the Jazz broadcast.
Donnie, you're out of your element.
You need to chill out. Groinial region?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What does that even mean in terms of watching Jazz games?
Well, as a guy without a cock, I understand why that's a struggle for you.
Fucking A.
Yeah, but my point is, I had just gotten back into, like, okay, you know, Bowler is what he is. I like Big T a lot.
Big T.
Yeah, Big Timmy.
Hey, guys.
Anyway, I like Thurl Bailey a lot.
Mhm.
I really do. I like the way he analyzes games, and his perspective is really good.
He's a brilliant guy.
Holly Rowe is nails on a chalkboard. Like, and I've tried. I've tried.
Never.
This is the topper of all stupid, terrible color commentary. And I actually like Holly Rowe a lot. Like, I love her on college football.
Yeah,
At
that's what she's good
ESPN,
at. That's what she's good at.
At
Yeah.
ESPN, college football and basketball interviewing, like, I think she does a great job. As a color analyst, she's brutal. And I just can't do it anymore. I can't. Like, it is
Let me ask you this. Why were you watching their broadcast?
because I'm dumb, Jake. You
Well-
know this. Like,
Sorry if you're offended by that.
the Dane Bramage that I have from giving birth to you, just like it
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
So, hey, see what had happened was, I don't know why. And I immediately flipped back to the Bulls broadcast, you know, with Stacey King, you know, who does a good job. Like, okay,
Like, they're serviceable. Can we all agree that we don't need most broadcasts to be Mike bringing in ESPN?
it doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
But please, oh, well, he's got to know if Donovan's that upset, you can't call a technical foul because you're in the wrong.
What?
Help me.
Dude, what?
Ishmael Beck Nielsen. Hey, good to see you, bud. Says Jazz broadcast is so trash, been for ages, but Bowler and Holly is unwatchable. I actually miss Harpering, damn it. I see, and that's what I said last week. I never thought I would miss Matt Harpering. I miss Matt Harpering.
Wow.
And his calm, mellow, matter of fact, well, he missed that shot. Like Bowler would say, there were times where Bowler would say to Matt Harpering, well, you know, what happened there? Well, Bowler, he missed that shot.
Donnie, you're out of your element.
No, he missed the shot, and all right. Like just that matter of fact, vanilla, straight edge.
Dude.
Well, what happened there? He missed the shot. They scored. How did the Jazz lose that game? Well, you know, the Clippers scored more points than the Jazz did. Oh, okay. Well, hey, Harp, that's great analysis. Thanks for coming.
You know.
Right? Like, that's the thing that just makes you crazy. Anyway, Ishmael also said, hey, guys, finally made it to a live show. Been following you since you had around 100 subs. Oh, wow.
Hey, guys.
Good to
Welcome
see you,
to the
man.
show, man.
Yeah, we're glad you're here, Ismail. We appreciate you supporting us. Edgar Garcia says good morning. David Fulmer says good morning.
Where's Jeremy?
Greg Hawkins says howdy, y'all. What's up, Greg? Good to see you, bud. Hope you're well. Neville93 says good morning, guys. It was nice seeing Alexander Walker play good ball. Wasn't it? It was. And maybe I'm just an a-hole, and I'm open to the idea that I'm an a-hole.
Are we clear on that?
Why isn't he playing more?
I don't know.
Help me with this. And I know we talk about this every time somebody comes off the bench. Well, admittedly, Jared Butler hasn't come off the bench very often, and when he has, it has at times been ugly.
That's pretty much
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
he's not been good. But like, you bring in a guy like Eric Paschal, he immediately gives you a 3 and a bunch of energy, and then it's like, oh, did they cut him?
Yeah.
because he's not on the bench anymore. Or he played anyway. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker comes in last night, and it feels like he can't miss.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why they're not playing him more.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys, as you always say, that you don't want to play like 25 minutes because he'll get exposed. But 10-minute increments, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jeremy Bolton, what's up?
There he is.
Jeremy
There
Bolton,
he
to
is.
his
Here
credit.
we go.
To his credit, Jeremy Bolton came around on Twitter last night.
Been waiting for Jeremy to show up today.
With some love for Alex
Been
Caruso.
waiting.
Which I thought, he put up Alex Caruso's box score, and I agreed with him. I thought Caruso played really well. Like, what?
Yeah, he played really well. Man,
See,
2 points. Wow.
But but what I say about Alex Caruso is he's not a superstar. And this is the Alex Caruso rub on this show. And we kind of have our sarcastic about it. Yeah. Alex Caruso is a role player. He's not ever going to be your best player. But the reason that so many teams wanted him, the reason the Lakers missed, the reason LeBron talked about how much they miss him and how much the Bulls missed him when he had the broken wrist, that, by the way, did you see him last night in pain?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wrists for basketball players, breaking their wrist is horrendous. It hurts in general. If you've
Was
ever,
that shooting or was that his left hand?
that's his left hand.
His left hand.
Yeah.
Grayson Allen.
But
Dick.
just doubled over multiple times in the fourth quarter. Donovan Mitchell fouled him on a play that wasn't called. And Donnie, actually, you saw Dom walk up to him and be like, hey, man, because he hit him right on that wrist. And I just can't even imagine how much that hurts. But anyway, here and there. In all seriousness, Alex Caruso is a role player.
Yeah.
And his role is to come in and play tenacious defense, which he absolutely did. He causes turnovers. He blocks shots. Like, he's that role player who gives you exactly what you need.
This is what I said on Twitter. He's another guy, just like Rudy, where most of his contribution doesn't show up on the stat sheet. It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, it's one of those situations where, 2 points is a bad look. I'd love to see him 10 or 15 points in a couple of assists.
I think it was 0 of 3 from 3 or whatever.
He offensively had a garbage game. There's no question about it. But I think to say that he had a bad performance is a bit harsh. I mean, he played good defense. He contributed on a decent level. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely more to Alex Caruso's game. However, I will give Jeremy his moment of sunshine and happiness and rainbows and flowers. You got over on Alex Caruso last night, and I'm happy for you.
But see, I actually, and I'm not even being a dick about it, I don't think you got over on Alex Caruso. Like, I just think that's who he is. Like, Alex Caruso is a guy that's going to give you 21 night and 2 the next night, but he's also going to have a bunch of assists, dimes, rebounds, steals, blocks. He's going to be, diving on the floor, not into Steph Curry's knee.
Listen,
because he's not a dirty player.
Listen, there's no, and I'm not trying to hate on Headband Caruso.
Mm-hmm.
There's no getting around the fact that you didn't play well last night on offense.
I mean, the Bulls had a terrible night offensively. And the other thing, and a lot of people ask me about the Bulls because we talk about them a lot. I'm a huge Bulls fan. Vucevic is just not a good center. Like, I mean, he is a guy that he's too big to be a power forward, but he's so soft that you just can't count on him. Like, Rudy Gobert owned Vucevic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even the oddity last night was and I thought it would be reversed. Like, Hassan Whiteside just wasn't really a factor last night.
No, Tristan Thompson was. Tristan
was
Thompson had a nice little performance. But
well, and that's an interesting talking point, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tristan Thompson he has 0 Fs to give, right?
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
You can see he's another guy going at Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, using that forearm, and admittedly, Rudy Gobert gets away with a lot. I mean, he takes a lot, but he gets away with a lot.
Yeah,
like,
pretty good bit.
The hook and the hold and the elbow throwing, and
yeah,
he gets away with a lot of physicality on the illegal screen, but he also takes a lot. And I think Tristan Thompson just doesn't care. And he's another guy that was going at Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how Rudy and Andre Drummond get along.
Yeah, I think that A, I agree with that, but then B, I think that there are a lot of guys, a lot of bigs in the league who are coming off the bench who know their role and understand that they can get to Rudy. And I think this is something we talk about a lot, where it's like, all right, you have these guys coming off the bench who their only purpose in life is just to piss off other players, you know? And I feel like that's what Tristan Thompson was doing. You know, he
Yes.
was playing hard, he was playing physical, but he knows how to play the game within the game, and how to get to the emotional side of players like Rudy and others. And I think that
Yeah.
while Tristan Thompson is not somebody who's going to make a huge difference in the game, if Tristan's goal is to get, 2 fouls on Rudy, then great. I mean, that's literally what they're bringing him in the game to do. And I also think that as far as Vucevic is concerned, I can make a case that Tristan Thompson has more uses than Vucevic does.
It's very much a matchup thing.
Yeah, like I would rather have a guy like, this is the Pascal thing. I'd rather have a guy who works really hard, is in the right spot, plays really good defense, but maybe has some shortcomings offensively,
But if you want the truth, the Bulls are at their best when they can play small ball with Derrick Jones Jr. at the center.
Yeah, when they're playing fast, which
Yeah,
is not what
that
they were
is-
last night at
And
all.
well, I mean, and that's the Rudy Gobert factor. You can't play small ball unless you have a center unless you have a guy like Kevin Durant,
Mhm.
right? Like you've got to force Rudy to move on defense. And against Vucevic, I mean, all he has to come at Rudy with is that little push shot, right? I mean, anyway, my point to wrap this thing up on the Jazz is that, I mean, this is the exact kind of win you needed.
Yeah.
And the only thing that concerns you a little bit is the Mike Conley regression to the mean last night. Now, he's shooting the three well, thankfully, but I really worry about his ability to finish in the paint consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, just missing, like, not Mike Conley-esque ability anymore. Like,
Dude,
he
Father
just
Time
can't
is
get to the
undefeated,
rack.
dude. Father Time is undefeated, and it
Yeah.
comes quicker
Yeah.
for some guys than it does for others. And I'm not saying that Conley's done or washed or anything like that, but I think we can all agree that as he's aging, he's becoming more inconsistent, and that happens, dude. Like, I don't think that should be. Once again, I know I say this a lot, but I don't think it's harsh or hating on Mike to say that, hey, yeah, you're a little bit older of a player, and you're a little bit inconsistent now. The nights when it's going in, man, is it going in? But damn, if there's too many nights where it's not going in, and you're struggling a little bit. So as long as he can find it in a postseason series, they're going to be fine.
Interesting. Okay, so we have a lot of new listeners to this show that aren't really new, but new commenters. So Brock, I don't know why you're commenting on yesterday's show, but Brock said anybody that continues to think Alex Caruso can't play in this league doesn't watch basketball.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong diehard Utah Jazz fan, and I'd give just about anything to swap him for most of the guys on our bench outside of JC, Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
Outside of JC, Alex Caruso is a guy that every championship team needs.
Yeah.
And he starts ripping LeBron. But then I think the point that he makes that I think is really good is that his attitude is what the Jazz are missing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily missing a white guy who wears a headband. They're missing his attitude. And I agree with that. I think that's the one thing I hope the Jazz add is, and that's why I was so in favor of Marcus Smart for everything that we saw last night with Marcus Smart. And if you didn't see it, the Celtics were in San Francisco to take on the Warriors. And Marcus Smart dove for a loose ball, landed on Steph Curry's lower left leg, and Steph limped off the floor and didn't return.
I'll drop that mother.
And Steve Kerr got into Marcus Smart, like was screaming at him, and then they stood during a timeout face to face, like talking about it. And Steve Kerr's point is that that was a dirty play. You tried to hurt him. I actually don't think he tried to hurt Steph Curry. I just don't think he cared if he hurt Steph Curry.
Exactly.
I think he dove for that loose ball without consideration of Steph Curry's lower legs. And if something happened, well, that's basketball. If nothing happened, that's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
If Steph's out for the year, that's basketball. And the problem is you miss the Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart, Alex Caruso mentality of I'm going to fly to the rim, I'm going to dive on the floor, you're going to catch an elbow or a shoulder, and that's just the way the game is played.
Yep.
You miss that edge on this team. And I think we can all agree that if this team had a little more toughness, if this team had a little more grit, you're going to win some games that you wouldn't ordinarily win.
Yeah.
There's not a guy on this Jazz roster willing to commit a hard foul. There just isn't. And like the Grayson Allen, Alex Caruso play compared to the Marcus Smart, Steph Curry play. Like Grayson Allen taking out Alex Caruso in the middle of in the air at the rim is as dirty as it comes. That's not a play where you can say, well, it's not a dirty play, but if he got hurt, he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dirty play. Marcus Smart it's different. Marcus Smart is a tough, hard-nosed player. I wouldn't do that. I think it's a dirty play. But I actually want Marcus Smart on my team.
Yeah.
I want Alex Caruso on my team. I want Jay Crowder on my team because those guys go out. This is why I love and what I espouse about Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Draymond Green is going to do what's got to be done.
Look, there's a difference. The difference that we're trying to get to here between Smart and Grayson Allen is Smart's respected in the league. Like, he's
very
done
much
enough.
so.
He's
Very
a
much so.
respected player, and there's a line of physicality in the NBA. And I have to say that I'm not ready to say that was a dirty play, but damn, it was close. I think it was very close. I think that Marcus Smart understands how to walk right up to that line, but not cross the line. Walk right up to it, frustrate some people, piss some people off, but not break a guy's leg, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Grayson Allen has shown many times, both at Duke and at the professional level, that he just simply doesn't pay any peace of mind to somebody's well-being, which is how Alex Caruso got dropped. So that's
and
the difference.
you'll remember that he's tripped guys multiple times
Yeah.
at Duke, twice in the NBA. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want that guy in your team. But a guy like a Marcus Smart that's the difference. Anyway, my point is,
Yeah.
if the Jazz had that gritty kind of competitor, this is a different ball club.
Yeah,
And-
and they will in the future.
And
They will.
I think they will because that's been a hallmark of Danny Ainge teams. That's been a hallmark of, and really any team in this league that wins, like that's why you had Tucker on Milwaukee. That's why, that kind of guy, the gritty guy that'll do the dirty work. That's what you need. So when you look at what this Jazz team needs, that's what you need. That's one of the major things you need. You need somebody that can be a 3-4 combo guy, shoot and get to the basket. That's what you need on this team. But here nor there. Anyway, to wrap the Alex Caruso thing, again, honestly, just straight to the point, he's not a star player, but he's a player that every team wants.
Yeah.
He's a player that championship teams want.
Yeah.
So, and that's why the Celtics, the Bulls, the Lakers, all those teams are trying to get him. So in all seriousness, but Jeremy Bolton, now you're just being a jerk, and I don't understand why you have to say hurtful things. He says, "Hi, glad the Cubs re-signed Chris Bryant." Oh crap!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Come on, guys.
See, like, why do you say
Why-
hurtful
why-
things
why,
like that?
dude?
Like, what
Why?
what is the need to act out like that?
Donnie, please.
Yeah, don't. Ishmael says, thanks, bro. You guys are the best show, keeping it real and no sugarcoating anything. I live in Denmark, so usually I have to watch the replays. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Thanks for catching a live one, man. Appreciate it.
John Jackson, what's up, JJ? Good to see you. Yesterday, Quinn played more players in other games, and I was excited, but then he only played them for a few minutes at most. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think
Seriously.
we're making progress, is what I would say. I mean, I think you're not wrong that he plays these
Slow,
guys for
steady.
like 2 seconds at a time and then takes them out. But at least now they're seeing 2 seconds of minutes and then getting taken out.
Yeah, totally. Eric C. says, wish Grayson would have finished the job on Caruso. Wow. Leave the cannolis.
I don't know what else he could have done, dude. I mean, he went after him.
Yeah, that was nasty. The wrist injuries hurt so much.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. If you've ever broken your wrist, it's just the end of the world. It's that, like for us, it's shoulder day.
Yeah.
Like, that aching, burning sensation you get when you work
Mhm.
your shoulders? That's how your wrist feels all the time when it's broken.
Yeah.
It's freaking gnarly. Jeremy Bolton says, glad you guys are coming around on Headband. Yeah, his role is 18th man off the bench. If he's your 18th guy off the bench, you're in great. You're going to win every championship for the next decade. And Garcia says, morning, dickheads. Well, and Garcia, good to see you too, man.
Fucking A.
Good to see you too. James
That's a
Knight
great
says,
one.
hey guys, what's up? Did I miss the gathering of the Alex Caruso fan club?
Hey guys.
See, and that's what I love about this show.
Oh man, dude.
I love this show because you guys we joke
Good
about
morning,
things like
dickheads.
yeah, we joke about things like Alex Caruso. And Garcia says, "What's the odds that Jazz fall out of the 4th spot? Maybe as low as 6th. It's gonna be tough."
Is it still? It's a half game still, right?
Yeah, no, they're tied, aren't they?
Are they tied now?
I don't want to speak
either
out of
way.
turn.
I mean, either way. Like I think
They're tied
know,
because Dallas won in Brooklyn last night.
I think the tough thing is the thing that I worry
Yeah, they're tied
about,
at 12.5.
Yeah, so the thing that I worry about is that the Dallas Mavericks are leaving the East Coast trip and the Jazz are entering it.
Yeah.
And I think that when we talk about the Jazz answering what the Mavericks have done, I have to say I don't have the confidence in the Jazz winning a game in Brooklyn the same way that I do in Dallas. Like, I think that Dallas has a lot of different ways that they can beat you. And again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but as much as I hate the guy as a basketball player, Luka is a baller, man. I mean, some of the shots that he made last night are ridiculous. I mean, I know there's 1,000,001 guys in the league now that use the Kobe fade and play that style of game, but he hits that shot at a super high rate, and he can get it whenever he wants to.
Well, and we probably undersell the Dallas Mavericks in this league. I mean, there's a lot of people who overlook them, and I think we're probably guilty of that on this show, too.
I don't think that they're championship quality, to be clear.
But, bro,
they're a good
they've beaten the Warriors twice, the Kings, the Jazz, obviously, the Celtics and the Nets back-to-back, and now they're going to Philly tomorrow.
But what's the X factor? The X factor and what decides if they win or lose is what Luka does.
Well, but now they've added a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie to that mix, who very much,
in addition to Finney Smith and in addition to other guys. I mean, that's the thing.
It's really difficult, and I hope people understand that. Spencer Dinwiddie may be the guy the Jazz missed on, because he has become a really good number 2 to Luka Doncic.
I mean, that was a cold-blooded game winner. I mean, I'm talking about hand in your face, pure as it gets type shot. And I think, and the thing is so who would be the Jazz? Who's the player that the Jazz would look to make that shot? Well, it's probably Bogey. I mean, honestly, in that situation, it's probably Bogdanovich, and I'm not sure
who didn't play last night.
Yeah, well, he'll play on this trip for sure. They're resting him, no doubt. But my point is that I'm not so sure that Bogdanovich can make that shot in that fashion. Has he made it before? Yes. Could he make it now? I'm not sure. I'm not saying that the odds are he'll miss it, but all I'm saying is I don't have I have the confidence. When they got it to Dinwiddie, I was like, look out, because this is a guy who can make that shot pretty consistently, and then he makes it.
Well, and the bigger question is, will Don pass the ball in that situation?
Yeah,
I think
great question.
One of the things that we've really seen integrated into their offense is the drive to the middle of the paint and kick to the corner, which is something the Jazz have been lacking. And I think now that Donovan Mitchell has routinely been able to do that, I think he's more willing to pass. It's just a question of I agree with you. Who's that knockdown guy? And the guy that worries me is Royce O'Neal, because it should be Royce O'Neal. But you see him last night late in the 4th quarter, just let it go, easy peasy, because you're up 15, right? But when you're in the 2nd quarter, when you're tied, he's refusing to shoot. And I think that's a really good point. Who would that guy be for the Jazz? But Dinwiddie's done it 2 games in a row, and over the last couple of weeks since the deadline, he's hit a couple of game winners for them.
Yeah.
And they're gonna. You gotta hold on to the 4th spot.
And the thing that's a little scary about Dallas too, before we leave this, is they feel like a team that's that team that you describe as getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of scares me a little bit.
Well, and it took time because they made major deals.
Yeah.
And the Jazz did not make a major deal. So what we're seeing is that the Mavericks are coming up to a new level. And the question is, where are the Jazz? Are they going to stay on that trajectory they're on now, or do they find a different gear? I don't know. But yeah, let's hope that Bogey's just resting, because he's got a calf strain, by the way.
They're resting him. He'll
it
be
seems
fine.
like that's what the regular is. I just hope that's the case.
Because everybody's had rest. I mean, think about it. The reason I'm so confident that they're just resting him, I mean, he may have a sore calf or whatever, but the reason I'm saying that they're just resting him is because every other guy has gotten rest. Obviously, Conley gets a lot of rest, but look at Don missed some time, Rudy's missed some time. These guys have missed time, and I think the Jazz. Well, I know they've said it themselves that they're putting an emphasis on resting these guys. So that's why I say, again, you're literally taking it, and I know this is the cliche corny thing in sports, but you're literally taking it one game at a time with this team as far as health is concerned. You're saying, okay,
Yeah.
we're playing the
Yeah.
Bulls at home. This is a game where I feel like we can rest Bogey and be fine. And you won the game by handily.
Yeah, and I just play more guys.
Yeah.
Give me more Eric Paschal.
Yeah.
Give me more Alexander Walker.
Like
the Paschal thing really frustrates me because
Yeah.
I don't know why. Listen, again, we can sit here and go round and round about Quinn Snyder, but it's not going to change. He is who he is.
it's going to need to change next year.
Well, I think,
It's going to need to change.
bro, I think June, July is going to be a very painful couple of months for Jazz fans.
Yeah.
I honestly do. Let's see. James Knight says, did that mother effing treadmill arrive for F6? Yeah, it's here, and it's amazing. I'll talk about that in a minute. Scott Howard, where are all of the Donovan Mitchell fans this morning? Anyone that thinks Rudy is a Jazz best player is clueless, and I like Rudy. I'll be the only one to carry the Don torch, and I'm fine doing it. I'm telling you, that guy's a generational star. He's incredible. Greg says, Eric DeVera. What did Eric DeVera say? Eric DeVera said Caruso is the grindy player. We have a local team here in the Philippines, Guinea-Bra, with the grindy, never say die attitude, and the players that join the team follow suit. They are crowd favorites. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. They're all cult heroes, right? Jeremy Bolton says, I'm actually a huge Cubs fan. I'm pissed they let Rizzo and Bryant go. Seriously. In a minute. Lester Liguizama. How are you, Lester? I really am confused. Is Paschal in a dog pound? Why is he not playing? He may well be.
Dude.
I don't know.
I don't know,
know,
man. It is baffling to me that Quinn does not use him as I like to describe Paschal as a brute. He's a guy that comes off the bench. He can shoot the three a little bit, not reliably enough where you want him shooting like 5 or 6 times, but one to 3 attempts a game. But what you want him doing is bullying the other team a little bit. Get physical with the other team. Change the narrative a little bit, you know? And that's all I'd be using Paschal for. Like, get him the ball at the elbow and let him just go and get fouled. He is excellent.
Let
at
him
getting
bang
fouled.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Let him bang a little bit.
That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. John Jackson says, I don't think you can call it. Whoa. I don't think you can call it progress. Progress is showing that you can handle more than 2 minutes. They are given 2 minutes to take as many points, rebounds, and blocks. They're warmed up after 2 minutes. Maybe you can't call it progress. I think last night, Nickeil Alexander-Walker earned more minutes. He has shown you this team needs more guys in the corner.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if you can put Daniel House, who again missed the game last night, he's injured, him in the corner in a late game situation, I'm okay with him shooting a 3. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I want to see him shoot more 3s. And he's shown you the ability to do that. This team shot 48% from 3 last night and 50 from the floor. That's what it requires for them to win games. That's what it requires.
On a side note,
Yeah.
update on the Griner situation.
Uh-oh.
Russian court extends her arrest to May 19th. So she's going to be chilling over there for a while.
May 19th. That's two
It's
more
halfway
months.
through March right now.
Oh. These idiots criticizing Donovan are always quiet as when Conley has one good game in every 8, or when Bogey is a 20-point-a-game guy, only 15 games a year, when Royce gives up an open shot, etc. Yeah, I don't understand the Donovan Mitchell hate. I really don't. And I do think a lot of it is his personality. I do. I think Donovan very much is a strong black man, and I think that frustrates a lot of people in Salt Lake City. Honest to God.
Yeah.
I don't like to play the race card, but I can't think of any other reason you just don't adore this kid. Because the guy is absolutely a killer. He's got the exact attitude and mentality you want.
Yep.
I don't love the technical foul, and sometimes his tantrums drive me crazy. But Donovan Mitchell's the guy that you're going to build this team around. And when you win a championship, it'll be because of Donovan Mitchell. And I don't know how people don't see that. You know, I don't. I think Quinn is taking the Spurs job if they really want him there. Well, that may be true. But at this point, whether he stays or goes, I think you're fine with it. Quinn's an excellent head coach.
Yeah.
He's an excellent head coach. Liguizama says Rudy Gay is the most upsetting acquisition. Yeah. What if Rudy Gay was Spencer Dinwiddie?
You
What-
wouldn't be in the 4 spot. You'd be in the 3 spot.
Furthermore, what if Nickeil Alexander-Walker was Spencer Dinwiddie?
Yeah.
It's just, like
Royce O'Neal wouldn't be on the floor.
yeah,
is what it
Mitchell
would
is
be.
awesome, but he will show his true potential once the Jazz get a real running mate for him, Rudy Sanchez. Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, I do they stay in the 4th spot?
Yeah, they'll keep it.
I think it's going to be really tight. By the way, it's not a sure thing. I was talking to an NBA guy yesterday instead of pulling my fingernails off at work. I was talking to an NBA guy yesterday who said he's heard that Jamal Murray is not 100%, and he and the Nuggets agree he should not play in a game until he is 100% recovered.